It's just been a lot of problems, obviously, for Origen, but I'm excited to see what Pekka can do. The lineup does rely a lot on Tabs and Nahun as the two big carries, where I think Misfits have a lot of different options.
Yeah, they have carries everywhere, but no traditional tank, right? So
True.
fall behind, and maybe the traditional tank helps out. There's the two coaches on stage, Ladakh and Hussein, walking off, of course. Formerly, we were calling Zaku. He's preferring his first name from here on out, in case anyone's confused. This is an uphill battle, if ever there was one. Misfits are on a 4-series winning streak. Currently, one of the best records in the split, and Xpeke, the man who selected and approved and put together this Origen squad that is on a 12-game losing streak, is now on the squad to try and turn it around.
To try and save the whole thing. Let's remember that in case they do get relegated, they still have to play against some challenger teams, and they can still win and get back in, but that's in the future. For now, it's all about this one series.
And that's it. Misfits versus Origen, game 1 of this best of 3. The once former true king of Europe, Xpeke, playing El Tigre Braum. And let's see what sort of performance he can put on. This is a losing bottom lane into the Jin Malzahar. And Misfits are a team that will punish any weaknesses where possible.
Yeah, and that's why Misfits will look at this draft and they will look at like the early game and be like, man, we got a great 2v2 bot lane. Our jungler can match their jungler. Mid lane matchup is fairly even. Syndra can get push early. It's really just Alfari where we're like, okay, can this guy maybe fall behind on this Fiora, gets slowed down a little bit? Not expecting it. It can be pretty difficult to gank her. So Misfits all around can just play pure laning phase and might get quite a large advantage based off the bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, talking, differences here. Average goal difference at 15 minutes is literally opposite. Misfits is around
Trevor,
1,500
are you telling
gold.
me the team on a 12-game losing streak has a bad record?
Down 1,500 gold at 15 minutes. And now they've got a team composition that is potentially going to lose all lanes if Kakao invests some time to help out Alfari in that top lane.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Exactly. If Kakao,
I mean, that is the caveat.
And that's kind of what we saw 2 days ago when they played Unicorns of Love and they destroyed Chachi in 2 of the games, basically, through very good jungle ganks from Kakao. Good setup with Alfari. He was on Renekton back then, easier to gank for than Fiora here, who doesn't really help you set up the gank.
Yeah, not this time around. Talking about helping though, Deficio, Sartorius gives Wisdom a little bit of a boost in the Raptor camp. That's going to give him slightly early level 2, and we've talked a lot about the Raptor camp priority and focus. Kakao, on the other hand, he's gone blue with help of Alfari to Gromp. Slightly different timings in that regard.
Well, the thing is, Kakao doesn't really have to worry too much about an invade on his Raptor camp from the Kazakhs. Kazakhs here can drop pretty low during first clear and can be risky to invade. So what Wisdom is doing, Trev, he's trying to early gank top. This is what we talk about, getting the Fiora behind.
Well, we sort of expected this one. Alfari's going to dash away. Takes a lot of damage, but Sartorius is just simply not able to find the CC.
And this is where you see some of these like small problems that end up costing Origen. Sartorius had skilled his E first, which is standard, then he took his W second. If you know a gank is coming, skill that hook, get the Q, because then you can force an easy flash with it. But he went for just a very standard way of skilling this Nautilus in lane. Just didn't really fit the adaptation that we saw from his jungler. And because now Kakao started topside, he gets a blue buff. Because he then sees the jungler on topside, he then goes down and takes his blue buff, and now 3 buffs over to Misfits. And I feel like Wisdom here is justified if he says, Sartorius, why didn't you skill Q?
Yeah, and that's a question of whether that's miscommunication in-game or not remembering the game plan.
I don't know.
Or not trusting. I mean, those are things we don't know. Deficio, we talked so much about Xpeke, but I just want to remind everybody at home. Xpeke obviously played last split. 2 different roles, ADC and mid. 11 wins, 20 losses in AD carry. He went 4-2 in the mid lane. And it got progressively worse, right? As the year went on, Origen started to fall apart. They lost players, they had different rosters, and now all of a sudden, Xpeke is in support.
And that's the thing, 2016 summer split, it started with Forgiven and Hybrid in the bottom lane. And then Forgiven, obviously, very shortly after, were off the team, and Pekka had to step into that AD carry role while Power Vivo was playing mid lane. And it was like, it was an uphill battle from the start because it was a new role he had to learn. Origen as an organization and as a team were kind of falling apart. That's why his record wasn't very good, but that doesn't take anything away from Pekka's legacy, like as a player. He's still one of the most legendary and best players in Europe, and Power Evil getting ganked.
All right, Stun into Nahun will buy some time. Wisdom tastes Power of Evil's fear. Defensive flash, forward for Wisdom, underneath the tower, plus Ignite, and Power of Evil survives.
Think he had a potion ticking there, keeping him alive. Wisdom as well, staying alive. Very, very close. Thought he could get him with the red buff.
Wisdom's doing everything he can in this early game. 2 attempted ganks, and this time successful on PoE.
Exactly. I think Wisdom actually is doing the correct things. Like, I like the level 2 gank on top side with red buff. Clearly surprised Alfari.
No, it's not gonna happen. He's gonna die to Raptors!
Okay. That was caster curse, because they said he did everything right, and then Raptors killed him. Well, doesn't count as a first blood, so that's something. Yeah, the crowd cheering for the Raptors. Oh, they don't know how to say quick shot? I'm not sure.
That's tough. That's so tough. I mean, Wisdom...
Okay. I mean, okay. So before that happened, you know, love the level 2 gank, blame Sartorius for that one. Mid lane gank, great. He trades his flash for 2 summoners on Power of Evil. He forces Power of Evil to back. Everything was great. He's back to the Raptors.
There we go. I think Wisdom will win the fight this time round.
All right.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of Berlin, for getting behind Wisdom in this difficult task.
But now he might die because Kakao is in here.
Here comes Kakao.
This
First blood is available. Lands a Sonic Wave and resonating strike. The damage back and forth. Taste the fear. Defensive leap, but the Krug's helping out, and Kakao gets first blood.
Poor Wisdom. His jungle pathing got slowed down because he died. Kakao invades and finds him. And suddenly, first blood Misfits. And Kakao didn't even do anything this game, except for this one play. He was just farming. He was 2 levels ahead, though.
Stole a blue buff once information was provided, and then, yeah, literally just walked in.
And this is a life lesson for everyone. Don't even try. Just sit back and don't do anything in life.
Wow, dude, that was real depressing.
Well, I guess unless you can go in and get first blood. They do that in life.
Expeke sends his regards because he is trying. He has joined in the support position, 6.5 minutes in a very difficult laning phase. Currently even on CS. We're going to catch a replay here of how Kakao took down Wisdom.
Yeah, this is again showing that laziness pays off. And then Kakao ends up getting that first blood. I feel bad for Wisdom there. Obviously his own fault for dying to the Raptors, but the first 2 ganks were good. Sadly for him and Origen, it's kind of what happened, you know, all split long, they do some good things, and then it just slightly goes wrong. Now, he's trying again. He's on level 4.
Expeke flashes forward. Look at that precision. Hun Summer's now the target. They've got him with the stun. This might be a kill for Origen. They finally take him down, but the tower shots onto Tabs and Peke as they're running for their lives.
They're fine. Peke, he can get out as well. The minions are dead. Nice gang. I like it from Wisdom here. Returns down towards the bottom lane, and now Peke setting up that 1 kill.
We've apparently enlisted some Spartans here, ladies and gentlemen. And Misfits, they've enlisted support in the top lane for Alfari.
Cross-map play here from Misfits. Flash is available from Sartorius, but he needs to outplay this one.
All right, how clean is this? Alfari's tanking the tower, takes a couple more shots. The depth charge comes out. Dragon's Rage as well. Grand challenge is completed, and Misfits make it clean.
Yeah, I love the setup here from Misfits. They know Wisdom was in the bottom lane because he just pulled off that 1 gank. They walk straight up towards the top side with Power of Evil, something he loves to do. Always likes to roam, impact the side lanes, and just a great executed dive. You know, Alfari tanks the whole thing, ends up stepping out just in the right time, and they can actually finish Sartorius. Nothing he could do. Good start from Misfits.
Exceptional start, and for the 9th game in a row, Origins have conceded first turret. You know, I hate to kick someone when they're down, but again, point these things out, not again. Oh. Could we say that one was Nahun? But Wisdom survives, gets blue buff.
That was close
and it's tough. I know we are like making a little bit of a joke at the Raptor death, but Wisdom has had 3 pretty good ganks already.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're not as efficient as Kakao's, because Kakao found Wisdom by luck or tactics you can debate and argue, and a great tower dive in the top lane. Kakao's 1-0-1, and unfortunately Wisdom's 0-2-1.
And we see this thing again where Misfits are playing carry tops, and they play around Alfari really, really well. Like, they really set him up to succeed. 2 days ago, they got top lane tower twice. It was the top lane one that died. Did I say top lane tower? I mean, first tower. It was the top lane one that died. That was how we're supposed to put it together. And it's the way to kind of get these advantages for these carries to make them work. And I want to see now what Origen can do, because what he likes to do now is push out his lane, and then he leaves the lane. He like recalls, he runs bot lane, he takes a dragon, something like that, and he uses the advantage to kind of snowball the other lanes. He doesn't just sit there and farm forever or freeze the wave. He's very active then on the map, and so is Kakao on this Lee Sin. Ignore here is trying to bait that he's like clearing this ward, and he's a little bit overextended, and then boom, Kakao is there. No one, sadly for Misfits, decided to go for the fight.
No, they didn't. Origen got a couple of wards though, looking all the way around the Dragon Pit. This control ward then is a couple behind the Dragon Pit. Origen at 10 minutes behind in gold, but they've got a little bit of vision to work with, and it looked like they were trying to set up a play. Peke and Sartorius had moved mid, but nothing happened.
Peke's had a lot of wards down on the bottom side. You even see some in the jungle of Misfits. We're spotting, I think, before when they were moving around. It is behind the dragon, sadly, so they don't actually see the dragon being started. And with Malzahar and Lee Sin, it's pretty easy to take down. So far, though, I still have to say, like with Peke on Braum and Ezreal, you know, it's kind of like, ooh, scary bot lane. That's not the strongest lane. Him and Taps, you know, staying even in CS, definitely good enough if we have to really judge, you know, Peke's performance so far.
Yeah, we didn't really pay attention to the trading, if at all.
We were busy looking at Raptors.
Exactly, but I mean, it's the junglers that have determined this early game, isn't it?
Yeah.
And now it's up to Origen to make their steps forward. Ignar actually spawning that little crab. Eats the chair.
Yeah, it's so annoying when you play against Malzahar, because even before it actually shows on your screen, as long as you click W, it's actually spawned and it will block a skill shot.
Yeah.
Peke though now is 6, so is Taps of course. Actually he's 7 at this point, so they could try and return to the bottom lane. Hansama has no flash right now, but Wisdom is also behind, so he's trying to catch up to Kakao at this point. There were some good buffs to experience here in 7.4, where catching up is a little bit easier. You get a bit more bonus experience if you are down in levels, both compared to the opponent you're killing and also your own team.
Good damage on Tanae here, and the stun at the back end, but it looked like Wisdom and up come in. Expeke decides to engage, puts down the Glacial Fissure. Good damage, teleport followed through for Sartorius. Peke and Tabs in the 2v2, they win it. The Mine follows after the flash. Now Ignar's looking to get away. Wisdom can flash over the wall, can get the Void missiles. Everybody from Origen's coming to the party. They're following their leader. Expeke is leading the way. One more hit for the stun. Ignar goes down. Origen with 2 kills.
Oh, I love it. I love that Origen is setting up plays in the bottom lane here. Peke and not afraid. Jumping straight in, and Taps now sitting on 2 kills, but sadly for Origen, they're losing this mid tower. Misfits reacting again by just making that play. They're not going to try and chase kills in the bottom lane. No, they're trying to just get turrets.
And we'll get their first turret of the game here for Origen. This will close the gold ever so slightly. And Tabs and Expeke already looking like they're on the same page, looking like they're setting up coordinated engages twice this game already.
And of course, it's also credit to Sartorius here with the teleport. Just overall good call. Calls we didn't see from Origen before, I felt like. I'm not just saying this is just like Peke's call or anything, but coordinated like ganks on the bottom side, knowing they're already lost the top lane. This is the best you could have gotten. See if Peke is in trouble though.
Yeah, Peke is in trouble. He's got a flash available to him, blocks some damage with an Unbreakable. I think he's a bit of a madman if he picks this fight, and Kakao, unfortunately, misses the Sonic Wave. And that means Peke is able to walk away with his life.
But Kakao's been able to kind of play in 4 different jungles right now. 2 of his own, 2 of the enemies. Good all in here with the TP, good timing from them. Sartorius just pushed out his wave, he's slow pushing. And then he just instantly goes to the bottom lane. And that's the one thing as well about Origen, like every game so far this split. We have bottom teams in Europe who kind of sit back and just wait to lose and don't do anything. Origen always force a lot of fights early. Like they always try to get an advantage through kills. Sadly for them, they lost quite a few turrets, 2 towers already in this game. But the goal difference is not big enough to say they're straight up getting destroyed right now.
Another buff steal here for Kakao.
Yeah, okay, we don't care about the buffs, you know.
Got that red, got that blue. I mean, you mentioned it, 4 jungles Kakao's been playing in 4 quadrants. And this is going to allow Misfits to just brute force their way to this bottom tower.
But OG just has to trade for mid tower. They should just rush straight to mid lane, get that tower here, ward on the bottom side to see when Misfits is moving up from the bottom lane. They are doing it as well, all 5 members around. So if they can trade turrets here, it's okay. Definitely getting that mid lane tower down is important.
Yeah. Looks like it will go down. There's enough minions to work with. And, you know, Fisher, you touched on the calling, the coordination on some of the Origen plays. When Peke joined Origen last year as ADC, we actually saw some improvements in a similar vein, where there was some strategic decisions. I mean, this guy's got years and years and years of experience and is a leader in all versions of the squad.
When Peke was struggling in the mid lane and they were using him and Power of Evil, they kept putting Peke back into the lineup when they were down in series, and the players were basically saying, you know what? This guy brings leadership, he brings shot calling, he makes everyone else play better. And obviously we can talk a lot about him and his history and everything, but there's a lot of focus on him right now. We have seen better shot calling from Origen in this game than in the past 12.
Yes.
Is it enough to straight up, you know, beat Misfits early game? No.
I mean, they're still behind.
It's definitely an improvement.
And I've heard from the stats team, Deficio, that leading up to this point, Kakao has secured 6 buffs. Wisdom has secured 1. That is how much of the jungle Kakao and Misfits have worked on and controlled.
And that was the first buff Wisdom secured, that he used to go top lane and then didn't get the kill sadly for him. He started with that red buff. He's been losing everything else. It makes it fun to play jungle.
I think Sartorius is going to die here. Let's find out. There we go. There's the stun, the roots, the nether grass, curtain call as well. Kick back, that's out of the shot. And Power of Evil gets the credit. There's just too much CC to be that close to the tower. Sartorius loses his life and the tower.
Yeah, Power of Evil with a very easy setup, landing the stun into a snare from Jhin and then Malzahar ulti. So really nothing that Sartorius can do once he gets hit by the first CC. Always the problem there. And Misfits has become a really strong early game team. Like, we like a lot of the macro moves they're making. We like how they're playing around the correct lanes. Tab's not here.
Tabs is nowhere near. 4 members of Misfits. Peke and Wisdom, though. Sim's the one that gets stunned out. Glacial Fisher buys a little bit of time. Silence comes out. Expected continuing to bait the fight.
Sartorius!
From Alfari and Sartorius. Peke's jumping, running, fighting. Kakao's the target. They've traded 1 for 1. Not just yet. Kakao's able to leap away. Survives. Hunt Summer's the target. Trading jungler for ADC. Now all of a sudden, Power of Evil. He gets a sphere and kills Nahyun.
Alfari's on the way as well. He's behind Sartorius right now. Peke is looking for more. Kakao's still alive.
Oh, a lot of damage onto Peke. He's going to get run down here with the Malefic Visions and Crabs. No flash to defend either. And unfortunately, Peke is down. Sartorius gets stunned just on the tip. Power of Evil. Uses his force of will and picks up another. Kakao, Lee Syndrome, do it! Dragon's Rage? No, not gonna
he's playing for
down.
KDA. He's 2-0-5. At this point, you just want to get a good score. But man, again, Origen, we said they wanted to fight a lot. That's how they're looking to get the advantage. We see it again. Ends up then staying for maybe slightly too long.
I mean,
looking for those. They were looking for that kill, you know, near that mid lane tower. Wisdom might get a dragon.
The setup for that one was so risky.
It was literally 2 guys behind enemy lines getting caught out. Then they're like, no, let's turn around. Sadly, for Origen, Tabs were running from base and he just couldn't make it there in time. But also, like, Alfari had to TP really far away, so everyone was just kind of split up, and it was just like small fights against each other. Wisdom, Kakao's on his way, but I think Wisdom will get it in time.
Yeah, there's enough time, especially with Tabs and Peke. Dragon number 1 for Origen, it is a mountain. Origen, as we approach 20 minutes, they're down 5,000 gold, 3 kills, 2 towers.
This is what we like from Tabs as well. Trinity Force Ezreal.
Okay.
Don't want to see the Iceborne Gauntlet here when you have to try and carry the game, because again, it is so much on him and Nahyun. You can't expect Wisdom on Kha'Zix in team fights to be a huge carry. Scrappy fights, skirmishes, yes. Full-blown 5-on-5s, no. Then it's all about Ryze and Ezreal's. Tabs here needs to continue to farm up a Storm and then become that late-game carry that he used to be many, many years ago on a team like Alliance.
Before that, well, it's been a long time since then, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah.
2 and a bit years, Tabs.
It's the year most European fans want to forget, because we went to Worlds, a thing happened, something with groups, and didn't make it out in Kaboom. And
yeah,
like,
there was an explosion, right?
Yeah, it was like boom, something like that.
Yeah.
And then the Brazilians were super happy, I remember. Not because of Europe, I assume, but...
Yeah, it's a bit fuzzy. I don't remember why.
That year doesn't exist.
Looking at total damage champions here, Power of Evil doing a very good job. It helps when he's 4-0-1, obviously, and a champion like Syndra.
But is he 4-0-1 because of the damage he's dealing?
Well, I think they're, they go hand in hand, do they not?
Okay.
Look at the minimap here, Deficio. Like,
I'm looking.
Really split up for Origen. And Sartorius has only just spawned.
It's a good ulti to obviously stop Misfits from chasing. Sartorius TP is in instantly, but again, as you said, look at the minimap. Tabs is so far away, and he managed to get spotted by Alfari with the TP, so he gets denied even more time. He just can't get close enough.
Origen did a relatively good job of getting at least something early, but it was so optimistic considering they had so many pieces scattered around the board.
I mean, Origen is trying to play this chaos style right now, where it's like force, 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 you know, create these big fights and hope Misfits are not ready, but Misfits can match, obviously individually, for sure, with the good players. And then they also, like, they have control of the side lanes every time. Top lane is pushing in, bot lane is pushing in, and doing this entire replay. The two side lanes are in favor of Misfits, so even if they are losing fights, it's hard for Origen to take a whole lot. The Mountain Drake might help if they can win a fight, and maybe take a Baron, if we're looking at 5-6 minutes from now.
There's a lot of damage to actually do that. Expeke, oh well, that was a little unfortunate. Just trying to ward up the jungle, but simply not enough vision available to him. Slow down on the ulti from Curtain Call. In his 7.4, it's slightly less effective, but still easily enough. Ignar now gets dropped. He was a tad over-aggressive on the back end, so they've traded 1 for 2. Origen at least finding a reply kill to Tabs in the top lane.
Power Vivo really sending a message to Origen here. Obviously his former team, where it was a bit of a messy year for him as a player. Alfari is just sitting bot lane, by the way, taking this tower. And this
He's playing PvE League of Legends right now.
Yeah, this is the side lane control we mentioned, how whenever Origen is forcing a fight, there are like 2 or 3 lanes pushing already in favor of Misfits. So if Origen can't like cleanly execute the fight and pick up multiple kills, then Misfits will always kind of win out. Wisdom is trying to sneak in here on Hansama. He's actually a level down. He doesn't even have a red buff. Got
some pings. No flash for Hansama for a few seconds. Wisdom throws down the smite. Gets Taste of Fear. Void Assault. Flashing forward. No, that's a leap rather. Side steps. He's going to be able to find some support. Red buff. True shot barrage. Tabs! Snipes Hansama!
Oh, Hansama actually started recalling. Then he stopped his recall and moved to the side. Thought he was dodging the ult, but actually walked straight into it. Tab sitting with 3 kills now on this Ezreal. He really is the man we're looking at to try and carry this game. But man, he needs some insane team fights because he has a lot of members who's going to target him.
Yeah, Trinity Force is completed for Tab, so power spike Deficio.
I miss the days when Trinity Force power spike was relevant to talk about.
Unfortunately, a 5,000 gold deficit means that Origen need to find more of those sneaky picks. Sneaky
picks,
in order to claw this back.
Back in the days of the potato in the mouth, we couldn't say sneaky properly. I'm glad I didn't cast NA. It would have been so weird when I cast the C9. It
would have been tough.
Oh, sneaky bot lane.
I actually want to keep my eye on the minimap because Ignar, where does he go that he gets caught out?
He's just tanking the tower now, and then Wisdom is coming from the bottom side with Nahun, and he has to walk
just an oopsie
back into whites towards the tower. Well, he got a kill, so I think he's okay with it. And Hansama now respecting that he might get ganked, and he's also burning all the time.
I'm very excited to see Misfits as the split continues to play out. They play H2K next week, and then the following week they play G2. So, you know, on Thursday, I was talking about Misfits and saying, are they the second best team? You and I followed that narrative, I think. Until they play H2K, we can't say definitively.
Yeah.
But this is one of the teams that's looking like they want to make a deep run in the playoffs. And
I think it's one of the teams that will make a deep run in playoffs. Now that we play BO3s here in Europe, the difference from BO3 to BO5 is not that huge because it's mainly about the adaptation between games, and you're getting that now in these BO3 series quite a lot. So I feel like if Misfits are already doing well at the moment, they're adapting to the meta, the players are always performing, honestly. I don't remember a game where I was like, oh yeah, this guy has just been underperforming the entire series. It's always, you know, pretty stable to good. From almost every player, then I can't really see them have a whole lot of issues just because we go to BO5s. They are playoffs. I really feel like they will be one of the strongest teams. And just as I say that, maybe I'm jinxing the whole thing, and the next week it's falling apart.
Misfits haven't faltered. They've from week 1 looked to be a competitor. Obviously, the team went to boot camp in Korea where they picked up Kakao and working with him. We see Expeke coming to try to challenge some of the vision. It's 24 minutes in. Baron vision seems to be the objective. Expeke is the target. Gets locked down by the Nether Grasp and manages to get a channel on that Glacial Fissure. Stun, max range again onto Wisdom. He's able to leap to safety. And while that's going on, Alfari
is still sitting there.
A jot 2-level advantage over Sartorius, and he breaks open the base.
Yeah, you have to remember the side lanes. And by having this Fiora sitting in that side lane, Misfits will always win the bottom side. And he's going to take inhib, by the way. He doesn't care about Sartorius right now. Sartorius needs to TP into a dragon, or into a Baron fight, sorry. He shouldn't try and fight Alfari.
Yeah, well, Origen might walk themselves into
Oh, they need to get in there and just TP
Power
in.
of Evil and Hansama trying to bait the play.
They will lose this inhib if they just keep trying to play 4v4.
Sonic Wave connects, so does the Root. There's a stun or a lockdown, at least the Rune Prison onto Cacao, and Tabs is able to heal himself to safety.
And now you see just Misfits played slow and steady, which is a very standard Misfits late game. It's where they don't gamble, they don't take big chances. Alfari could have just said, you know what, I'm going all in for inhib, but no, some of Origen members backed away, he steps away as well, steals away a few camps instead, gets a bit of a gold advantage, boom. The rest of the team around Baron, no, we're not gonna risk anything. Just step back, recall, get your control wards, and then set up again.
Misfits, of course, had one of the cleanest Barons coming into this week. They had one misstep against Unicorns.
I dreamt about it, it was a nightmare.
They
I
allowed a
cried.
Baron to get stolen, but watching this play again, watching some of the vision set up, unfortunately, a lot of the wards are starting to die, so Misfits just rinse and repeat.
They were, Trevor, the chosen one. Because so many Western teams, no, so many non-top LCK teams mess up at Baron. Every week, it's like 50-50 Barons, or the call where they get the Baron but then get aced right after and everything goes wrong, and then Misfits were the team who just managed to execute it cleanly until that one steal. They didn't see Xerxes, he walked in, stole it, and my heart broke.
I know. I tried to make fun of you for, you know, believing in them so well, and there was multiple times that game as well. And this time around, now we're looking again, right?
Yeah, now we're looking
Misfits.
again.
Let's look at their vision. Let's look at their timing. One of the big things that's so important is when Misfits start that Baron, if there's any contest at all, they instantly peel away and pick a fight. You know, they seem to be on the same page. And that's what we're going to look to see, because Origen won't give them time to react. Origen will also start a fight and just fully commit.
Origen has to start a fight because Alfari's back in the bottom lane and he's not leaving that lane until that inhib is dead. And then he goes top lane and does exactly the same thing. So it's a never-ending problem for Origen with this Fiora, so they need to be able to force a fight. We need a deep ward that is behind the river so they can TP in behind Misfits. They're trying to put one down, they got cleared. There's one in the mid lane, pretty far away though from where the fight will actually happen.
All right, Deficio, just before the fight breaks out, Edge of Night completed for Hansama. 3 items for Power of Evil, a Death Cap, Morellonomicon, Void Staff. There's a GA and a QSS on the side of Origen. So scaling up in power, that GA and QSS could be pivotal if Ignore picks the wrong targets.
And Misfits has done a very good job clearing out wards, except for the one in mid lane that is being pinged by Origen. So they're saying this is the last surviving ward that we need to use if we want to force the fight. But Pekka face checks.
Pekka.
Oh, there's the TP as well, but it's too late now. No, cancel everything.
And he cancels the TP. Now there's a teleport advantage to Misfits, a manpower advantage, and that's just unacceptable.
They had the setup. Well, they set up. I mean, they had a setup, but sadly was not. Nice prediction on the jump.
Curtain call available. Shots connect. Cacao follows through. He boots down Nahyun. Force of Will finds a stun, a scatter the weak, and it's a double kill for Cacao. Alfari's also going to take the inhibitor, and Origen just cannot compete in the mid to late game.
And again, this is where we created Misfits for very smart play. Not starting the Baron, knowing the one way Origen can get back in this game is by getting that fight around Baron with Sartorius TPing in. So they're like looking for the pick instead. Get one pick, 2, 3.
It's flying across and just going to help out a little too early. Important to note, Alfari did die in a 2-on-1, but Misfits get the Baron on 4. They get supers in the bottom lane. And now they're going to look to set up this final push.
There's no chance for Origen right there to actually do a whole lot. So, as you said, not only did you lose inhib, you will now have these super minions coming on the bottom side. You have Baron buff minions coming as well. It is looking very, very tricky all of a sudden. Hard to say it's surprising, you know. Yes, you get in Pekka. It's a bit of a buff. We saw that in the early game. Definitely changed the shot calling quite a bit. But when it comes then to actually beating Misfits, who, as we said, were one of the best performing teams in Europe, a little bit of a stretch, which is why I think, you know, the Pekka deal here is more get him on stage now, get him to play with the team, and then next week, it's important.
And that's especially true because next week, Origen play Roccat and Giants. Then they play Vitality, then they play Splice. So the competition for Origen is, relatively speaking, quite weak for the next 3 series. Find their footing, develop synergy, and maybe look to cause an upset and climb out of that 5th spot.
Because we have to remember, the team above them is Vitality right now. They only have 1 win.
Yep.
So yes, Origen is sitting on 0 wins and on this massive losing streak, but because Vitality is also just losing and losing and losing, the crucial spot, which is number 4 in your group that saves you from promotion tournament, is still right there in front of them. They just need Vitality to keep falling down the stairs, and then they need to start picking up a win. Or some wins.
Something.
Just pick up something.
Settle for something. 30 minutes into this game, 13 kills to 7. It's over 10,000 gold in favor of Misfits. I think the position we find ourselves is not surprising.
Nope.
However, the manner in which we got here, the first 15 minutes, in my opinion, there was some more positive play. Wisdom had some great ganks. Obviously a misplay here or there. Peke and Tabs, they called some good TPs, Peke.
And they hate him.
Mid to late game is pretty bad. He had that same problem when he was AD carry. Origen not giving up though, looking to get some damage onto Power of Evil and Ignore. They're running low. That's at least a 1-for-2. Flash over as Alfari wants to try clean up. Nahun's running for his life. The riposte will not find a stun. A lunge forward as the challenge is completed. 2 members of Misfits killed for 3 of Origen.
Let's see if they can actually finish the game here. They have minions, buffed by the Baron as well. Super minions in the bottom lane should be enough. Taps is the only carry alive. He's back now to full HP.
Yeah, it's a 2 versus 3. Finds a Sonic wave. No, that's Kakao looking to jump forward. Alfari and Hansama backing him up. The Nexus is the focus. Sartorius is taking the damage from Hansama. The Nexus goes down, and Misfits defeat Origen.
So Misfits again showing a very strong mid to late game. And whenever Origen wanted to fight in the early game to get a goal lead, Misfits were just trading for towers. Whenever Origen wanted to fight in the mid game, Misfits already had 2 side lanes pushing and a Fiora sitting in that side lane, taking more turrets. And you just see the big difference between trying to brute force your way forward or playing the macro game, which is what Misfits is doing so well. Man, speaking is hard.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Misfits, very good game at the end of it. Step back. They have now given Xpeke and his squad a tie for the longest loss streak in European LCS history. As they've taken game 1 in this best of 3, let's head over to the analyst desk to break down exactly how it happened.
Thank you very much, Quick Shot. An interesting game, for sure, and it was not all bad for Origen, as grim as that ending was.
It's one of those situations where, unfortunately, expectations at the beginning of this game are set so low that as soon as Origen are making plays and trying to get kills from the jungle early, you're like, okay, maybe this is like the start of a new era for Origen in the spring split.
I think those are some pretty strong words. It's not the start of a new era. Right now...
Well, I said maybe. I'm saying maybe
okay.
as
All right.
we saw the plays.
I mean, let's be clear. The expectations are still low.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to who do you need to beat, for them, it's Vitality. And are they getting closer to doing that? I feel like yes. I feel like we did see some very solid play coming out in the early game, and specifically from Wisdom. Interestingly enough, very proactive ganks, of course.
Yeah.
It does cost him a lot, but when we take a look back on this, he made some pretty good plays.
And it's these plays that obviously there was the miscommunication between Sartorius on what was skilled, how they could get there. And it's these plays that you look at and you think, okay, against teams like Giants, like Rocket, maybe this is the start of what Origen need. But unfortunately, they got answered pretty quickly because you realize you're up against Kakao. And, okay, Wisdom... we didn't request this, but I guess
we didn't want this. We're getting it. We were going to try to shy over this part. So he dies to Raptors. But this is the big issue actually is not the deaths to Raptors, what we saw in those plays. It's that he goes for a gank, and it's like, yes, good job getting a gank. We watch Kakao. Oh, Kakao's taking a camp, or 2. So Kakao is consistently getting ahead in experience. And you saw immediately after that Raptor death, he goes right back in the jungle and dies once again.
Right, Kakao knows exactly where Wisdom's going and finds him and kills him, and that's the key part, is like against Kakao, he will punish you. Like, you can't afford to make those mistakes. Maybe against, as we said, the other teams around them, that's the kind of opening that can get your laners safely through. I mean, bot lane looked fairly safe after the play we saw Origen make, that again was more active than we've seen from Origen in a lot of weeks and was fairly successful as well. So when we take a look at the 2 kills that Origen actually did succeed with in the bottom lane, this helped Tabs and Peke kind of get through the early phase of the game. So I mean, it's coordinated, right? They bring Sartorius down. Wisdom ends up in this fight as well, and it's just the fact they're using the numbers game. Yes, okay, they lose a tower in mid. That's obviously still a benefit going over to Misfits, but at least Origen are trying.
And I think we can debate the chase on the Ignon.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the right choice, but overall, this is a much stronger looking Origen, or not stronger, but much more decisive, right? They pull the trigger, everything comes together. You get 2 ults, you get the TP coming in. That's the kind of play we want to see. But the issue is, if you look at the mini map in the corner of that play, once again, it's Misfits getting something else in exchange. They're always getting something back, and sometimes it's greater than the 2 kills.
And Misfits have done that against even the top of the table teams. Unicorns faced the same problem, that every time they were trying to make a fight happen or play halfway across the map, Misfits are getting things the other side. They're getting vision, they're getting camps, they're getting towers. And I mean, I kind of look at this and maybe don't excuse Origen, but say, hey, if Unicorns are struggling with this same thing, I'm not expecting Origen to be able to handle that either. So the plays that they were making, I want to give them at least a little bit of credit for.
Yeah, I think it's good to give them credit. I think the issue is when playmaking goes too far. And then when we look at the next replay, this is the issue, right? Is that while I love to see teams continuously fight, while I love to see teams continually look to pick fights, even when they're at a deficit, sometimes you just need to leave. And that was not the decision here for OG.
Yeah, this one, Sartorius manages to get into the fight, but again, the casters brought this up in the replay as well. Tabs gets zoned out by Alphari, and Kakao is kind of in everybody's mind right now, gets away from Sartorius on no health, and Hansam had a game where he was getting caught out quite a lot, but it didn't really matter because Power of Evil was just on fire this entire game. Kakao stops his recall and decides, no, I will come back into this fight and try and assist. And that's beautiful.
It's grim. Of course, it's beautiful.
Great stun
mechanics.
That's about to come out from Power of Evil, though. 3 spheres, 2 targets. Of course, he gets them both at that point. And, I mean, Misfits were so far ahead by this fight anyway. It kind of was the bow on the present of a first game win.
I think a solid way to phrase it. Now, looking ahead, of course, coming up in Game 2, Origen have selected blue side. They get a little bit more opportunities in pick bans if they want to secure first pick. We didn't talk a lot about picks and bans, but I want to look back. Is there anything that you feel like needed to change here? It feels like they drafted not the strongest lanes, even if the composition may have looked good.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like Ezreal with Ryze and then Nautilus. I mean, Nautilus theoretically wins top lane, but it's not a crushing matchup. Fiora will outscale. So you're basically having 2 lanes that are losing and one that is only going to contain Fiora. So there's not a lot of platform to actually build from. I liked what Wisdom was doing from the jungle on the Kha'Zix in the early game. Maybe pair that with an early game top laner like a Renekton or something, if they can get it for Sartorius. Might be enough to contain Alphari for half the game at least. We'll see what he ends up playing.
All right, what is the biggest change you want to see for OG? Is it the picks and bans, decisiveness? What do you think, if you can see OG change one thing to kind of improve on the road to improvement, to hope to take down Vitality in the future, what is the thing that you would like to see right now?
I think maybe get tabs on something that isn't Ezreal. His Varus has been okay. He's had fights where he's picked up like triple kills in before, so maybe that with shot calling, with a more early game Wisdom, could be enough to push Misfits more, but I still see Misfits taking the second game.
And at the end of the day, it's not the story of winning the game right now for Origen. It's the story of improving, trying to improve the team, trying to make it out of that relegation slot. But gonna have to see. Still very much weighted in the favor of Misfits. But coming up after break, we'll get back into picks and bans for Game 2 between Misfits and Origen. Don't go anywhere.
Peggy, you want to psych them out and stay on mid lane?
Yeah, I will stay here for a couple of minutes.
No, it's not gonna happen. He's gonna die to Raptors! Here comes Kakao. First blood is available. Lands a Sonic Wave and resonating strike. The damage back and forth. Taste the fear. Defensive leap, but the Krug's helping out. Kakao gets first blood. And Expected decides to engage, puts down the Glacial Fissure. Good damage, teleport followed through for Sartorius. Pekka and Tabs in the 2v2.
Chase.
They're following their leader. Expected is leading the way. One more hit for the stun. Ignar goes down. Flash over as Alphari wants to try clean up. Nagu's running for his life. The riposte will not find a stun. A lunge forward as the challenge is completed. 2 members of Misfits kill for 3.